Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are finishing off our Valentine's Week movie special with Everything Everywhere All at Once. Unlike the movies on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, this is my choice. This is a movie that I want to get to, and that I've honestly been waiting for people to request as a donation reward or something. Um, it's a movie I've been wanting to see. It's a movie I wanted to see in theaters, but just never got the chance to. Although I think some theaters are still showing it. Oh well. But let's talk about what I know about this. So I know that this is a multiverse movie. I don't know the specifics of how that all works in this, but I do know that. I know that the actor who played Short Round in Indiana Jones is back in this, and that this movie got him exceptional acclaim and made him a big star. Like he had stepped away from acting due to not being able to get parts and not feeling there were parts for Asian American actors. And so coming back to this, I believe he was inspired after he saw Crazy Rich Asians. He came back to this, and it just everybody showered him with love for it. Like, everybody has been showering him with love for his performance in this, and he's kind of been overwhelmed by it from what I've read. But he appreciates it. And I hope he gets more roles because of this movie. Um, I know that there's like with the different universes and all. I believe I've heard there's like a couple different styles. But I don't know like anything like in detail about that. This is also A24, so it's gonna get weird. um. But yeah, I don't really know what to expect. The only other thing I know about this is that it has something to do with generational trauma, because I've heard people like talk about that in regards to this film, comparing it to other recent movies, though animated ones, that have dealt with this kind of topic as well, such as Encanto and Turning Red. I have heard so many people lump this in with those movies in terms of that topic of generational trauma, and I could just say that's exciting because I loved both of those movies. I like Encanto and Turning Red, two of the best Disney movies in recent years, without question. um, Two of the best, and I want to see more like that. So, yeah, even if this isn't a Disney movie, even if this isn't animated, it's like excuse me, the idea that this is even similar or even being talked about in the same breath as those two movies excites me. Now, I had seen a trailer for this like once or twice, but I don't remember too much detail from it or anything. So nothing to worry about there in terms of like how much have I been spoiled on this? Pretty much not at all. Um, but I have been excited for it, and I've been waiting to get for this because I just feel like I'm going to like it, just based on the little bit I've seen and the little bit I know. Um, so we're gonna get into this. This is over 2 hours long, so we're gonna get into this. Hope for the best. I'm probably gonna go grab a drink before I actually begin the recording. Just for valid reasons. but but yeah, I'm excited for this. So let's just get this going, and end off this Valentine's Week movie special on a high note, hopefully. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. because after it fades black then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the movie. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. We are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. I expected, or hoped, I guess would be more accurate, to like this film. Because it's been universally praised. It's been getting a lot of attention, even as long as it has been since after its initial release. And so I was hoping I would like it. I chose this when I initially planned out this week of movies. I chose this as the finale, hoping that it would be the perfect way to end this week off. Starting the week with the silly craziness of Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and ending it off with a multiverse film that touches on generational trauma and other deep, important topics while delivering an amazingly entertaining ride the entire way through. Those were my hopes for this film. And yeah, I think it's clear that Everything Everywhere All at Once far exceeded anything I could have hoped for. It's like, even now I'm still tearing up, I'm still crying because of this film's messages and themes and ideas, touching on nihilism and love, kindness, pain, generational trauma, fear, and so many other things. It's a chaotic whirlwind of emotion. And despite being over 2 hours long, it never feels like it's long. You never get that feeling that you're just unable to handle the length at all. And mind you, just over 2 hours isn't that long. I've seen the Snyder cut. That's over 4 hours. That's like double the length of this. Well, maybe not quite, but it's still, it doesn't feel as long as it is what I'm trying to get across. And there's a lot of things in this that I would not be able to get, I feel. There's a lot of things in this that probably reflect Asian American life and experiences that I, as a white person, would not understand without having to learn about that. It's not something that it would be naturally understood for me. But for all the viewers who are Asian American, it's going to mean a lot. It's that representation and depiction that they need. And it's pretty clear that this film left an impact. I mean, Michelle Yeoh was already really well received as an actress, so it's no surprise the acclaim she's gotten for this. But the big one is, and I might be mispronouncing his name. I apologize if I am. Ke Hui Kwan as Waymond. Um, he he owned this movie. Let's be honest. So the fact that it kind of at the end it kind of all hinged on just his kindness and his love. It really allowed him to shine. Like, I talked about how this movie reinvigorated his career, and how people have just like flocked to him with love and admiration, and it just given him all of the praise for this. And I can see why. Like, he is the most precious being. Even seeing like the alpha version of him, who is more cool and confident and badass and all, it's like he's still the most precious being. He's like, I, I would love him. I do love him. But it's like, if I were in Evelyn's position, I would not have been mistreating and ignoring and everything to that. I would make sure he knew I loved him, because like, how could you not? How could you not love someone like that? He's so adorable. He's so beautiful. He's wonderful. He's absolutely wonderful. I love everything about him. Um, and every actor in this did great. Stephanie Sue as Joy, and Jobu Tabaki. Um, she was amazing. Like, she really nailed the chaotic energy of the Alpha Universe version of herself, who had been just completely um, nihilistic after what her alpha mother did to her, which unquestionably was wrong. That's undeniable. And James Hong obviously was fantastic. Um, he's pretty much always great, though. Like, whether it's a live action role or a voice role, it's like we just love James Hong. Like, let's just be honest. Jamie Lee Curtis, of course she was great. It's fucking Jamie Lee Curtis. Like, I can't believe I did not recognize her at first. It's like it took a little bit, and then it's like, and then I'm just like looking at her face, and it's like, wait a minute. And it's like, oh yeah, that's Jamie Lee Curtis. Holy shit. I did not know she was in this at all. I had no clue. That completely caught me off guard, but in the best way, because if you've been watching this channel, you know I absolutely adore Jamie Lee Curtis. Like, Knives Out, Halloween, obviously. Just anything she's in. Freaky Friday. Like, I don't think I've talked about that on the channel much, but yeah, I loved Freaky Friday with her and Lindsay Lohan. So it's like, yeah. Um, but like, even some of the smaller actors in this, the side characters, like Jenny Slate was Debbie the dog mom. It's like, except for the entire using the dog as a weapon, like, except for that, which freaked me the hell out, like, she was even great. Her performance was wonderful. All of them, all like the side characters who are helping Alpha Gong Gong, they were wonderfully acted. Um, and like, let's talk about that for a minute, though. The dog thing. I briefly paused it during the reaction to mention it, but like, there's this one very specific Karen video. Again, I don't know if you watch Karen videos at all. I tend to like watch them for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe just like, I like seeing them get their just desserts and shit. But there's this one Karen video I've seen on a lot of different like compilations and whatnot. It's like this crazy woman. She's yelling at this guy. I think it's one of the ones where she's being racist, I want to say. She has this small dog with her, right? She picks up the dog and just violently throws it right at him. The dog freaks the fuck out, naturally. And after like being thrown at him and falling onto the ground and all, runs behind his leg and cowers behind him. It is the saddest, most horrifying thing. And the dude ends up taking the dog with him and everything because she just kind of pieces out after that. She just kind of leaves. He takes the dog with him, and I think I saw like an update thing on it too at one point, where actually the dog is still with him to this day, and like they're actually really close, and it's like, God, it's just like people who do that kind of shit. I've seen another Karen video where this woman is like, this one definitely is racist. I remember specifically. And she's like yanking and pulling her dog on the leash like all over the place in a really like violent, aggressive way. It's like she's not even like, she's not doing anything to try and like guide her dog or anything. She's just like yanking him around like I don't even know what. But it's just I hate those are the Karen videos I think I hate seeing the most. Like obviously the racism and sexism and shit like that when you see it, the homophobia and transphobia I've seen in some of them. Obviously, those are a little worse, yes, than just animal abuse. But animal abuse bothers me. So seeing this woman using her dog as a weapon like that freaked me the fuck out. I went into full fight or flight mode there. It just like, nope, not happy with this. Um, but and speaking of like the other actors, the side characters as well, um, there were some interesting scenes in this involving them, like when Evelyn was fighting them, like the dildos was interesting, even though that was Joy or Joe Butabaki who did that. But yeah, it's like the dildos during that scene. It's like, oh my god, what? And then the trophies that look like butt plugs and were actually used as butt plugs. It's like, oh my fucking god, I am not comfy. That's not comfy for me. It's like again, I have nothing against people using butt plugs or anything like for sexual gratification or in terms of play with their partners or whatnot. That's completely fine. In fact, I am all for that. And like I even said at the ending when she was helping everyone and one of the guy just helping him involved sexual being becoming comfortable with his sexual gratification and whatnot. It's like I am all for that. I love that. I think that's a beautiful thing to embrace and to showcase. But just the way that it was done during the fight scene and the dude was like dropping trow and trying to just slam his ass down on it. It's like, oh no, that's just uncomfy. That's just like, oh, that makes my asshole pucker out of pain. It's like no, God no. It's just the way it was presented, you know. Um, I liked seeing like the different universes and how that was integrated. Like the one that was they were pinatas. There was the one where they're just rocks. Um, One where it was like children's drawings, and it's like it was so creative. Even the ones that were just like various other universes, like the one where she and Wayman never got married, and she ended up becoming this big movie star, this successful, rich movie star. Um, or the one where there's the Ratatouille situation with the raccoon. It's like, what the fuck? Oh, it's funny because they actually like kind of made that joke earlier on, and then it ended up being actually true. Which I guess in a like an infinite multiverse situation, it's like anything is true, anything and everything is true. So it's like, yeah, but what? um, and of course you had the like the kung fu universes, the hot dog fingers, which in that universe also Evelyn was together with Deidre, and it's like, okay, okay, unexpected but interesting. I can dig it. And it seemed like in that universe they were in love, so it's like, hey, no harm, no foul. Jamie Lee Curtis and Michelle Yeoh, it's like I'm kind of into it. um, and the queer representation was handled well here. Even just beyond that, like with Joy and Becky, it's like yeah, like it was shown that she wasn't Evelyn wasn't as accepting at first, but only because she was worried what Gong Gong would think. But then, like by the end, she's like she proudly introduces Becky to Gong Gong as Joy's girlfriend, and it's like it's a big moment. And I really like how it's positive in that regard. Like even when Joe Butabaki is confronting her, and she's like mentions about Joy being into another girl, and like everything just kind of stops for a second. Joe Butabaki is like, wait, really? You're still on about that? It's like it's just calling out that how bullshit that is, and kind of calling out how people are still on about that, and people are still like turned away by that, or just straight up like bigoted towards that. It feels very much like a call out towards that. Like, oh, you people are still on about that in this year? Really? So it's like that one like tickled me pretty well. As a queer person, yeah. Um and I also like how the big bad in this wasn't some malevolent force, but just a girl who got hurt. A girl whose mother used and abused her because of this generational trauma. And just turned her into a monster. This girl who just needed to know that she was okay as she was, that she didn't need to be anything special, that aiming for that kind of lofty goal is not necessary, that she's good enough as she is. She's good enough by not being good enough. It's her ordinary life. It's her generality that makes her worth it. And that's really nice to see. That one of the messages of this film was just that you're worth it. No matter how small you may perceive yourself to be. No matter how insignificant you may perceive yourself to be. You don't have to be the best you. Because just by being you, you already are. There's nothing wrong with trying to improve your life or trying to be better in your life. But sometimes just accept yourself. Sometimes just let it go. And don't put so much pressure on your shoulders. Please, be kind. That's the overarching message of the entire film. Just please, be kind. To others, to yourself, especially to yourself. Because I know that myself and many others, like we've suffered because of our own thoughts, getting into our own heads, being too judgmental about ourselves, and too worried about what others think of us and what we think of us. It makes us depressed. It makes us anxious. It makes us lose track of who we really are. And we just need to realize that we just need to be kind to ourselves. We just need to accept ourselves. Again, there's nothing wrong with striving to be better, but don't let it control you. Don't let it be you. Sometimes it's okay to just sit back and tell yourself, I'm just me. And that's what makes me special. I'm special because I'm not special. Kind of a message of Encanto, too, speaking of movies with generational trauma. Um, but yeah, it's like that's the biggest message of this, for sure. And I love that. I absolutely love that. Because it's a message that so many people need to hear. That so many people just need to know for their own sake, for their own self worth, their own identities. To be able to be the best you don't always need to, like, push yourself that far. Sometimes you just need to accept where you're at in your life, who you are, what you've done. Just live your life. Embrace every small, seemingly insignificant moment. And just embrace living. Embrace being. Because that's how to truly live. This movie was creative. It was powerful. It was emotional. And it was investing the entire way through. I'm shocked by how good it was. And I want to look at the critical response here, even though, as I stated, it's like this has received critical acclaim. I just want to bring up a few things. As always, take it with a grain of salt, but Rotten Tomatoes gives it an approval rating of 95% based on 370 reviews, with an average rating of 8.6 out of 10. The website's consensus reads, led by an outstanding Michelle Yeoh, Everything Everywhere All at Once lives up to its title with an expertly calibrated assault on the senses. On August 26, 2022, Rotten Tomatoes users voted Everything Everywhere All at Once as A24's best film of all time in their A24 showdown. Metacritic, which uses a weighted average, assigned the film a score of 81 out of 100 based on 54 critics, indicating universal acclaim. Audiences polled by PostTrack gave it an 89% positive score, with 77% saying they would definitely recommend it. David Ehrlich, I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it, but of IndieWire, called the film an orgiastic work of slap-happy genius, praising the direction and performances, particularly Yeoh's. The Hollywood Reporter's David Rooney called it a frenetically plotted serve of stoner heaven. Sure, I can get behind that. That is insanely imaginative and often a lot of fun. In fact, imagine watching this movie while high. That would be a trip. Because this movie was a trip in and of itself. Complimenting the cast and score, but found the handling of the story's underlying theme underwhelming. I disagree. In her review for RogerEbert.com, Maria E. Gates lauded Yeoh's performance, writing, Yeoh is the anchor of the film. I actually disagree. I think Ke Huy Quan, I want to say. Hold on, let me go back up there. And I still might be mispronouncing him, but Ke Huy Quan, yeah. I think he was the anchor of the film, personally. Maybe that's just me, though. Where was I? Given a role that showcases her wide range of talents, from her fine martial arts skills, which were also in Shang-Chi, by the way. So I have seen her martial arts skills before. To her superb comic timing, to her ability to excavate endless depths of rich human emotion, often just from a glance or a reaction. Charles Bramesco, writing for The Guardian, praised the Daniels, who are the directors, I believe, for constructing a large, elaborate, polished, and detailed expression of a vision. Amy Nicholson of the Wall Street Journal wrote, over its nearly 2.5 hour running time, the movie's ambitions double, and double again, as though it's a petri dish, teeming with Mr. Kwan and Mr. Scheinart's wildest ideas. Basically, it just comes down to universal acclaim, all around. For the most part, I mean, it is mostly universal. There are a couple of naysayers out there, but they're kind of random and out of nowhere. Dissenting reviews include those of Richard Brody of The New Yorker, who dismissed Everything Everywhere All at Once as a sickly cynical feature-length directorial pitch reel for a Marvel movie. It wasn't cynical, though. That's the point. The cynicalness was the wrong attitude. That was the point of the film. But it doesn't really feel like a Marvel movie. Like, I've heard some people, like, compare it to Multiverse of Madness just because they're both multiverse films. But honestly, watching it, it's not really like that at all. I really don't. I really don't see it that way. Again, maybe that's just me. But Everything Everywhere All at Once was nominated for 11 Academy Awards, 10 British Academy Film Awards, 13 Critics' Choice Movie Awards, winning 5, and 6 Golden Globe Awards, winning 2. It was named one of the top 10 films of 2022 by the National Board of Review and the American Film Institute. Mind you, none of that fucking matters. I just wanted to list off the accolades as well. But award shows and whatnot don't fucking matter. Honestly, my opinions don't fucking matter because they're just my opinions. It's all subjective. Form your own opinions. Form your own opinions on what you thought of this movie. And let me know, what did you think of this movie? Great transition there. Tell me in the comments below, what did you think of Everything Everywhere All at Once? How did you feel about its themes and ideas and the depths portrayed in such a trippy way? What did you think of the actors? Did you love Ke Huy Quan as much as I did? Because if you didn't, I don't understand you. Because he is an absolute gem. He is such a precious baby boy, and I love him so much. But thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you so much for tuning into this Valentine's movie week. I had a blast doing this. The movies were great. Like, to a degree, all of them had something positive to offer. And I really enjoyed them all to different degrees, but still. This is definitely my favorite of the 5 movies we reacted to this week. This is definitely my favorite. Probably with the other My Choice one, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent at number 2. But to be fair, I chose those 2 movies as the 2 My Choice ones, knowing I would love them. Or at least believing I would, based on what I had seen and known about them. But I still liked the others too. I still liked Hot Fuzz. Like, I actually surprisingly really liked that. Dirty Harry, it's like Dirty Harry was probably my least favorite of these movies. It was okay. Like I said in the reaction, it was okay. Not amazing, but not bad either. It's just kind of in the middle for me. It had some issues to it that I just that did bother me a little bit, but there was a lot to like and a lot that, you know, was obviously meant to be seen in a certain way. So, and as for Return of the Living Dead 3, that one also was a big surprise for me. I did not expect to like that one as much as I did, and especially not more than the other 2. We had another RoboCop situation where it just ended up being my favorite of the trilogy somehow. And maybe that's just me, but I don't mind it. I stick to my opinions. And like I said, I would love to hear yours, so let me know down in the comments below, once again, what you thought of this film and what you thought of this movie week. And for those who have been wondering and asking, yes, we are going to be getting to the Harley Quinn Valentine's special next week. So that will be coming. No worries about that. And next week, everything else should be going according to the normal plans. We'll be going back to our normal way of handling things. Uh, just basically took this week off to do something special. So, yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.